Barcelona midfielder Pedri Gonzalez revealed how he nearly joined Real Madrid after trials. Pedri, a stalwart of Barcelona's midfield, revealed in an interview with Icon magazine, via Mundo Deportivo, that he would have signed for Real Madrid if the club had accepted him following trials. In order to join Real Madrid's Cadete team, Pedri underwent a trial before deciding to sign with Barcelona in 2019 from Las Palmas. After the February 2018 trials, Los Blancos made the decision not to sign the 19-year-old. After joining Barça section a year later, Pedri spent the 2019-20 season on loan at Las Palmas before making his permanent home at Camp Nou in 2020. Pedri has consistently insisted that Barcelona is his ideal team and that Andrés Iniesta was his childhood hero. However, the young man admitted in the interview that if Real Madrid had accepted him following the trials, he would have signed with the team. "I believe so. It would have been very difficult for me to decline the offer from one of the greatest players in the history of this sport, but my goal was to make it as a professional football player," Pedri said. However, Los Blancos did not make an offer, and Pedri acknowledges that this was fortunate for him because it allowed him to join his dream club. "That train left the station, and 2 years later I signed a contract with the team of my dreams. I've always said it, but I've been a fan of FC Barcelona since I was a young child." Since joining Barcelona, Pedri has advanced to become one of the top young midfielders in Europe and is a mainstay in both the club and national starting lineups. Real Madrid may have some second thoughts about not signing him, but the Merengues are developing their own top midfield group with players like Federico Valverde, Eduardo Camavinga, and Aurelien Tchouameni, and they intend to add Jude Bellingham in 2023. Barcelona's wonderkid and last year's Copa Trophy winner, Pedri, speaks about how he nearly signed for Los Blancos before landing the Barca gig. Arguably Barcelona's second most important player behind Robert Lewandowski and a player that Blaugrana has big plans for, Pedri has recently spoken about his desire to make an impact as a professional footballer and the fact that he almost signed for Real Madrid. Although the fact that he trialed at Real Madrid wasn't a secret, Pedri seldom talks about it, but now the midfielder has decided to shed some light on the situation. Recently, during an interview with El País, Pedri was asked about whether he would have signed for Real if they offered him a contract after his trial, to which he replied, "I think so. My ambition was to make my way as a professional footballer and it would have been very difficult to reject an offer from one of the great clubs in the history of this sport. That train passed and 2 years later I ended up signing for the team of my dreams, that of my family and that of my first football idol, Andrés Iniesta. I've always said it, I've been a Barça Section A fan since I was a child." Although Pedri has a long way to go to reach the levels his idol Iniesta achieved in his career, both as a footballer and in terms of achievement, he is well regarded amongst fans as Iniesta's true successor. The 19-year-old signed for the Blaugrana in 2019, but things could have turned out very differently. Pedri went on trial to Real Madrid, before joining Barca, but they opted not to give him a deal. Asked whether he would have signed for Real if they offered him a contract, he told Mundo Deportivo, "I think so. My ambition was to make my way as a professional footballer and it would have been very difficult to reject an offer from one of the great clubs in the history of this sport. That train passed and 2 years later I ended up signing for the team of my dreams, that of my family and that of my first football idol, Andrés Iniesta. I've always said it, I've been a Barca player since I was a child." Pedri has already made 61 La Liga appearances in his short career so far, and scored 8 goals while providing 4 assists. Barcelona teenage sensation Pedri has fueled the flames with arch-rivals Real Madrid after thanking them for turning him down a couple of years ago. The 17-year-old wonderkid has shown at the camp so far this season under Ronald Koeman, but his career could have taken off very differently. Pedri had a trial at Madrid's Valdebebas training ground in February 2018. But the club decided to turn him down before he would eventually join Las Palmas prior to moving to Barcelona. And Pedri has since admitted he was glad the Bernabeu outfit rejected him as a teenager. "I went for a week of training with Real Madrid, but they told me that I did not give the level. They took me to an office and told me," Pedri told Cadena Ser. It served to motivate me. What would I say to who rejected me? I would thank him, because for him I am in the team that I have always loved. Since I was little I have always been with Barca. This is where I want to be. Pedri made his Barcelona debut on September 27 this season, and has gone on to establish himself in Koeman's plans at the camp. The Spanish youngster scored his first goal for the Catalan Giants in the 5-1 victory over Ferencváros in the Champions League on October 20. So far this season, Pedri has played 10 times in all competitions, including 3 in the Champions League, scoring twice. Pedri has shown great versatility so far, and Koeman seems to want to find a place in the team for him so early on in his Barca career. And as he continues his development at the camp, Pedri has revealed he is relishing playing with 6-time Ballon d'Or winner Lionel Messi, who came sensationally close to leaving in the summer. Of course I dreamed of playing with Messi, like many children, Pedri added. Barcelona midfielder Pedri is now the idol of Barcelona, and with the possible exception of Robert Lewandowski, perhaps their best player. However, in Spain it has been much commented on that he had a trial at Real Madrid before joining the Blaugrana, but Los Blancos did not offer him a deal. It has become something of a false narrative in Spain that Pedri consistently speaks about that trial with Real Madrid. He has commented on it on multiple occasions, but as a result of constantly being asked about it by the press. The most recent edition of this took place in El País, who interviewed Pedri. Mundo Deportivo carried his words, as he was asked whether he would have signed for Real Madrid if they had offered him a contract after his trial. I think so. My ambition was to make my way as a professional footballer, and it would have been very difficult to reject an offer from one of the great clubs in the history of this sport. It seems a logical answer, and football is littered with instances of young players signing for clubs that rival the one they support. Famously, Jamie Carragher was an Everton fan but spent his entire career at Liverpool. However, Pedri seemed more than content with the way things had turned out. That train passed, and 2 years later I ended up signing for the team of my dreams, that of my family and that of my first football idol, Andrés Iniesta. I've always said it, I've been a Section A player since I was a child. Wearing the number 8, there are certainly similarities between the two. Spanish football journalist Graham Hunter once termed Iniesta as the solutions man in his book on Barcelona's side under Pep Guardiola, and more often than not, Pedri is the one the current team looks to in order to solve problems. Pedri would not have rejected Real Madrid had they offered him a contract as a youngster, but is glad to have chosen Barcelona and have the chance to learn from Lionel Messi. The 19-year-old landed the Copa Trophy last month, awarded to the best player under the age of 21. Following an incredible rise to prominence over the past year, Pedri made his senior debut for Barcelona in September 2020 and has gone on to make 56 first-team appearances, 52 of those coming last season, the most of any Barca player. He has also featured 10 times for Spain this year and played a big part in La Roja's run to the Euro 2020 semi-finals, becoming the youngest player to represent his country at a major tournament and finishing the competition with more passes completed in the final third, 177, than any other player. Pedri went on to help Spain claim a silver medal at the Tokyo Olympics. However, while Pedri is now considered a guaranteed starter for Barcelona when fit, the teenager could easily have ended up a Madrid player had he impressed in a trial. When I was 15 years old they called me for a test, but that day there was huge snowfall and it had to be postponed. Pedri, who has not played since September due to a thigh injury, told Tuttosport. The next day, I took part in some light training with the academy side. Maybe they already had their idea about me, so I went back to Tenerife. However, I would not have rejected Madrid. Opportunities must be seized, however they come. Let's just say something happened, a combination of negative circumstances, and they were the ones that didn't want to sign me. Pedri spent time in Las Palmas Academy before arriving at Barcelona in July 2020 on an initial 2-year deal that has since been extended to 2026. Though the club is going through a difficult period, Pedri is grateful to have had the chance to play alongside Messi for a season prior to the superstar forward joining Paris Saint-Germain in August. Playing with him was a dream. I was 3 years old when he won the Golden Boy. He will always be a legend for Barca fans, and for me it is an honor to have received his advice." Pedri added, "What young player would not like advice from someone like him?" He congratulated me and told me never to give up. "If someone like him tells you that, what can you do at 17? All you can do is obey." Pedri, who backed Jude Bellingham and teammates Gavi and Ansu Fati to battle it out for next year's Copa Trophy, sees no reason to depart camp regardless of who comes calling. "With my buyout clause, neither the Sheiks of Paris or Manchester will be able to sign me," he said. "I'm happy here. I was born in a Barca environment and I have crowned my dream. Let me play here until 2026, as my contract says, and then we will talk." Barcelona sensation Pedri has revealed that he was once told that he was not good enough to make the grade at Real Madrid and it has been his mission to prove him wrong since. Pedri made the switch to Barcelona from Las Palmas in the summer of 2024 in initial allegation $5 million and has exploded since then. Initially, the classy midfielder was expected only to feature with the AB team, but his level was such that he was thrust straight in with the senior side. He has gone from strength to strength since then, making his international debut in a matter of months as well as featuring at both Euro 2020, where he was voted Young Player of the tournament, and the Olympic Games. Real Madrid certainly did not forecast such a future for the 19-year-old, who they told did not have the quality to cut it at the highest level. "I went there and for the first few days I couldn't train because of snow on the pitches. I trained for 3 days," he told Cadena Cope. "They took me down to the AB team to train and in the end they told me that I didn't have the level to be there and that they were letting me go to keep looking. At first, you don't want to be rejected anywhere, but then it motivates you to think that if they don't want you, you are going to work so that in the future something else might come. I don't remember who turned me down, but if I saw him now, I'd tell him that I'm enjoying myself at Barcelona." Pedri particularly enjoyed beating Real Madrid 4-0 with Barca. "Playing at the Bernabeu is spectacular and even more so if you win like that," he said. Pedri is now on Spain duty, with fixtures against Albania and Iceland to come.